We have the strength.
If you enjoy the video you're about to watch, or just find it interesting, or just have conservative values and believe in free speech, please consider subscribing to the channel, hitting the notification bell. It's just the red button down there, the bell next to it, liking the video, and most importantly sharing this video, because that helps me and us stay competitive with the big multinational corporations such as CNN that YouTube is unfortunately choosing to prioritise. Thank you very much and enjoy this video. Greetings free thinkers, welcome to the Hoggcast. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing fine. I certainly am, although I've seen some things today that worry me, like I do most days, to be fair. However, I do love animal rights, I love animals. I've always had a connection with animals, particularly cats. I can charm cats. However, I do like pigs, and it's not just because my name's Hogg. I know that's an old joke. Going back some time, I do actually like pigs, but it is not because my name is Hogg. Anyway, this is a pig that was rescued from Portland. Similar things have happened in Seattle, okay, where pigs have been rescued. Now, you may ask yourself, why is a pig in downtown Portland? Malnourished, weak, beaten. Well, you may be putting the pieces of the puzzle together yourself now, because you often see that woke leftists, anarchists, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, the black bloc groups of Antifa, the ones that Jerry Nadler say don't exist. You may now starting to ask yourself, where do they actually get pigs' heads from? And the answer is, they get them, they take them to the cities, and then they end them. These are your so-called peaceniks. These are the type of people who cry over oil being drilled for in the Arctic because it might hurt a polar bear. These are your people. Hollow nut, hypocrites, fake. Nothing about the woke left is real. Whilst they cry over my polar bears, they're beheading pigs, innocent animals who just want to chomp down food on a farmyard in urban areas, only so they can then set the pig's head on fire to make a political statement. You saw in one of the opening clips a pig's head on fire on top of the United States flag. We'll watch the full thing in a minute. Where do you think they get the heads from? So without further ado, let's get into the video. If you haven't yet, like, subscribe, share, etc, etc. But I want you guys to see what they've been doing. Okay, so the first clip is the aforementioned pig's head. Now, it's important to remember this is not the pig that you saw in the opening image. That has been rescued by the police, who are decent people. I don't like authoritarianism, but you have to respect the fact that a lot of the police, especially in the United States, do a great job. Here in England, it's a bit different because the police are in lockstep with the woke left, whereas in America, the police are kind of at odds with the woke left, even though when they started taking a knee and all that kneeling to try and appease them, appeasement never works. Remember that. Always remember, appeasement never works, and it's the tool of a coward. Here, the police are just different. They're just, don't even go there. They're not. It's not the same type of thing. They just don't go there. Anyway, take a look. Okay, so they're playing the Green Day song American Idiot. Now, they're burning a pig's head. They've obviously ended its life in an appalling way. They're burning its head on what remains of an American flag because they set the flag on fire. They set the flag on fire. Now, they're playing this song and recording it, American Idiot, as if other people are idiots. You understand what I mean? As if Trump is, or Republicans, or free-thinking right-wing people, conservatives are. This is how unironically hypocritical the woke left can be, right? The only idiots I can see are these people that are doing this to their own flag, to an innocent animal, in their own streets, trying to make out they're freedom fighters when they're trying to bring the anarchy. They're trying to bring the anarchy. How could a self-described anarchist bring the freedom, bring the human rights, when they have devoted their lives, self-admittedly, to anarchy? Anarchy as in destruction. Next, we have a leftist with press written on his helmet. Now, remember from the early days of the George Floyd protests, and by the way, these aren't George Floyd protests, it's got nothing to do with George Floyd. This is an attack on America, this is an attack on Western civilization, society. This is socialists trying to push their agenda through. This is adult toddlers having the world's biggest tantrum. It's all of those things combined. Now, going back to what I was saying a minute ago about the George Floyd protests, remember in the early days, people who were journalists were being arrested by the police. And yes, a CNN journalist was arrested by the police, even though CNN is shit. I don't agree with their journalist being arrested. However, the reason why he was arrested and his crew was because there was people going around like this that you're about to see in the footage I'm about to show you, who have been masquerading as journalists, have been doing this, saying I'm press, I've got press written on my head. He should have twat written on his head. And they do things like you're about to see in the footage, and slowly but surely the police during the George Floyd riots realised that these people are not real journalists, and that's why they were getting arrested.
Come on! 1997, 1995. That's what I'm saying, man. Yeah, 1995. Come over! They can't arrest us all. We are the people. We have the strength.
A soy boy holding a wilted flower, telling people that he has the strength. He has the soy. He doesn't have the strength. Okay? Now, I don't know why he's holding the flower. I think it's that weird liberal thing where they, you know, where they say they want to hug you. I'm sure you saw the rebel media, the rebel news footage where the journalists from the rebel news went to Toronto Square, to a square in Toronto, to see the camp that these leftists had set up. Leftists have thrown trash everywhere. They're attacking people, extorting people, mugging people, clamping down on free speech, telling ordinary people they had no right to go to the public square. And there was one man who ran up to the rebel news journalist and was saying, do you want a hug? Do you want a hug? I'll give you a hug. I'll give you a hug. Don't run away from love. Don't run away from love. Like that. He was literally saying it like that. And he looked just demented. Demented. This is a similar thing. In all of the carnage, he's holding a flower as if to signify he's some sort of peacenik. Even though they've burnt everything down, they've ended innocent animals to make a political statement. They've looted everything. They have committed the most horrible of crimes. Oh, but forget all that, because he's holding a flower. He's a peacenik. He's a liberal, man. Peace.
That's why they made the Second Amendment, so that this would not happen. This is why they created the Second Amendment.
Don't they ever get tired of chanting? I'm sure you can hear in the background, I've got a noise gate, noise suppressor on my microphone, but I'm sure you can hear it. They're chanting George Floyd, even though George Floyd was not in Portland. George Floyd was in Minneapolis. I suspect George Floyd and his family don't want you doing all of this in his name. This is how disrespectful the left are. The woke left. If, say for example, that man in the on the screen that you can see on your screen, saying something bad happened to his family members, and I wouldn't then, even if it was unjust, yes, what happened to George Floyd was unjust, and what happened to him, had you woke leftists have not done what you did, would have hit George Floyd's life wouldn't have been in vain, because that actually united left and right. I've never seen left and right united before, not for a long time, and that united left and right. But then the actions of the left, the appalling, abhorrent actions of the left, which has claimed many, many more lives than the one life lost via George Floyd. Scores of people have lost their lives since then in these riots and looting. But if something had happened, going back to what I was saying, if something had happened to his family, I wouldn't then go and burn things down in his family's name, because that's not me. I couldn't do that. That's sick. That's disgusting. I wouldn't go and loot that shop and then say I'm doing it because something happened to him. I wouldn't do that, and I know that everyone else who has proper conservative values wouldn't do that. But these guys, no problem. They're doing much more harm than good. We were united until the woke left did what they do best, and then we were not united anymore, and that's their fault. Next, you're about to see a clip of the US attorney for Oregon, which is the state which Portland is in, of course, which has now become the centre of the violence. His name's Billy Williams, and he becomes irritated in this interview with mainstream media shills, who, of course, are not interested in the news, even though they call themselves news broadcasters, news reporters, etc., etc. You know as well as I do, if you've come to this channel and you're a regular here, that the quote-unquote news broadcasters want to give you a narrative. They're not giving you the news, they're not giving the public the news, they're giving the public a narrative. And I'm afraid to say we're still in a position where the vast majority of people think that a narrative is news. They think they're being given the news and they're being given the narrative to pitch people against each other. Anyway, take a look.
We're going back to how you were talking about this is shadowing the overall message about Black Lives Matter, right? You feel like the late night demonstrations are taking away from the fight for racial justice.
These aren't late night demonstrations. This is criminal activity. Okay. There's a difference. Okay. What you have failed in the media have failed to distinguish between, you seem unwilling to call people engaged in criminal conduct as criminals, as opposed to lawful protesting.
Well, some may argue that the way the federal agents are acting is criminal too, and we're not saying that.
Argue away on that.
But we're not saying either, so...
You're not saying either. Of course you're not. Now, the thing... In fact, that's not true. You are saying one. You're saying about the federal agents. We've seen it. We've all seen it. Now... You need to understand actions have consequences. There's a cause and effect. Of course, these liberal activists masquerading as journalists, they know that actions have consequences. They know that cause has an effect. Cause, effect, a cause, effect. They know that, but they don't want you to know that. They don't want the people at home to know that. You notice that he mentioned the cause, which was the violent rioters trying to burn down a courthouse, which has nothing to do with George Floyd. They're chanting George Floyd in a different state, almost 1,000 miles away, whilst trying to burn down a courthouse that had nothing to do with him. That's the cause, right? The effect is the federal agents protect that building. That's what the liberal activists masquerading as journalists are not telling you. And I hate the stuck-up attitudes from the journalists. I really do. Oh, even their prissy voices irritate me.
Well, so I'm just saying there needs to be a distinction made between lawful, constitutionally protected protest and this. This is unlawful.
Okay, so
and people, whether you're an opportunist, an antagonist, an agitator, or an anarchist, call it out for what it is.
so you're saying the late night activity that is criminal.
What I'm telling
You notice she said late night activities again. Do you notice that? They can't get their buzzwords out of their head because their head is just filled with buzzwords, nothing else. Leftists can't think critically. So it's just buzzword, buzzword, buzzword. He told her specifically, stop calling it that. It's not late night activities. Late night activity. They always make the worst things sound innocent and the most innocent things sound but really bad, like toxic. That's what they do with the woke left. These fake news journalists, leftists masquerading as journalists. They turn everything around. It's inside out, back to front. Everything. Whatever they say, just think the exact and literal opposite, and you'll have the truth.
telling you is you seem to refuse to call something late night activity. This is criminal.
I just said the late night activity that you say is criminal.
See what I mean? The late night activity, she's doing it again, that you say is criminal. The late night activities that you say is criminal. It is criminal. She never said what I'm calling late night activities, what is criminal. She said late night activities, what you call criminal. Disgusting. Disgusting. And this bit, the worst thing about it is there's the majority of people out there who aren't plugged in to the free thinking network like you and I are. This is why these YouTube channels are gaining so much popularity in spite of an attempt by YouTube to shut us down. And they have been shutting a lot of people down. They have been. But in spite of that, there's still a worryingly large majority of people out there who will watch this interview on cable TV and think that woman journalist is telling them the news. Whereas if they knew what to look out for, they would know how disgusting what she's doing here is. Really, that's not news. She's dedicated to her narrative, and she's going to give you and your family her narrative through hell or high water. She's not going to give you the news. You're getting her narrative and you're going to say thank you for it. And if you're not, then you're every ism-inist you could think of.
Right.
What I'm saying is, why can't you call it out as such?
Because I'm not.
You're using late night activity. It sounds like a party. It's criminal. Look at the
Exactly. The interview just got cut off there. He says, look at the debris, just look around. Everything's burnt, everything's been trashed, graffiti thrown everywhere. There's remnants of fireworks that were tied together to be used as bombs, broken glass, bricks that have been thrown at the law enforcement. Oh, it's a late night activity. That's how stupid they think you are. That's how stupid she thinks you are. And what a perfect way to end this video. We have a clip to show you demonstrating. This is Portland last night. So this is after what you just saw a minute ago, right? With the Oregon attorney, Billy Williams, speaking to the fake news mainstream media. The woman, the entitled leftist woman masquerading as a journalist who kept saying the phrase late night activities. Okay, this is last night. This is these late night activities they keep telling you about. Okay, now let's take a look at these these peaceful late night activities. Looks like such fun, doesn't it? There's your late night activities. Late night activities. Anyway, thank you for watching this video, ladies and gentlemen. If you liked what you saw or found it interesting, please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. But as I said, most importantly, share this video around. That helps me stay competitive with the big and multinational corporations such as the BBC, Sky News, and the mainstream media, who love to portray the image that these are late night activities. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.